Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this. Today we're going to be going through strengthening your core. So the important thing about this is making sure that your belly button is engaged, your posture is really strong. This is something that I find is lacking in a lot of people when they do their exercises, is that they don't keep that core strengthened and they end up rocking a lot, losing that stability through their core and therefore leading to injury. So a lot of us through this quarantine have been sitting around a lot more on the couch or working from home, sitting in a chair, that sort of thing, and losing that strength through their core and their posterior chain. So today we're going to find ways to work on that. I'm going to drop in the comments our Part Q form just to make sure that everybody is safe and healthy. Always good to take a read through that, so you can find that in the comments. And we're going to work on strengthening that core. So the first thing to think about is how the pelvis is situated. So when you're here and we're nice and tall, typically our hips will drop forward. We've got a little bit of lordosis, so that means that our back will curve. And you want to think that your pelvis is a bucket of water. So what that looks like is the bucket should be nice and flat on top so it doesn't spill. So when you lean forward, what's happening is all of that water is spilling forward. So we want to tuck that belly button under and level out that bucket. That's going to be your first step, and that is going to be so important in your day-to-day activity. So whenever you're standing, you're sitting, engaging through that core and pulling that belly button in. So that'll be super important for our workouts today. So we're going to come down onto the mat, laying with your knees bent, your back nice and flat. This isn't going to be a crazy workout today, but just a thought on how to engage. So when you lay on your back, there may be a little bit of a space underneath the spine. You can maybe fit your hands through. So we want to draw that belly button in and connect that spine all the way down to the floor. Pressing down through the heels, spine is totally connected now. You can feel that difference and engage right through. So if you just relax everything, don't think about anything, put your hands on your belly, draw the belly button in and feel those hips, that pelvis tilt up. And now we're engaged. That's where you can start. We'll start with the hands out to the side, a little lift up through the hips and back down. So these glute bridges help strengthen that entire posterior chain. So hamstrings, glutes, low back, as well as through the front, through that core. Come all the way back down, spine lands all the way to the floor. Keep it engaged and then lift again. All the way back down and up. Belly button nice and tight. Everything is engaged. Back down, drawing that spine nice and flat. Up and down. Let's go 4 more. 4. All the way back down. The spine is neutral on the mat. 3. 2 more. Last one. All the way down, spine is neutral. Making sure that we are flat, belly button engaged, hands come in behind the head, simple lift up and down. Now these crunches are small. They don't have to be big in any way, just lifting the shoulders off, keeping the spine on the floor, and you'll feel the efficiency. Belly button tight to the spine. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. The entire time my belly button is drawn in towards that spine. Nice flat back. Every vertebrae is pressed into the floor. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. We're going to flip around and come into a plank. Same idea with that belly button pulled into the spine. So this plank can come off the knees or off the toes. And I'm going to show you first off the knees. And so we're going to round up just a little bit through the shoulders, creating a little bit of space between the shoulder blades, and belly button is pulled in tight. Notice that flat back. So shoulders, hips, knees in line or pop up onto the toes, same idea. So if your back is loose and your core is loose, you're going to drop down through the hips, pulling up. There's Duvessa blocking the camera once again. Come on, baby girl, up on the bed. So nice and tight through the belly. This can come down onto the knees or onto the elbows as well. Still rounding up just a little bit through the shoulders. Don't depress. Notice how that drops everything down. Round up through those shoulder blades. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. So 3 simple exercises to work on strengthening that core. Now, if you're just joining again, remember that hip, the pelvis is like a bucket of water. Typically, it'll tilt forward and you'll lose the water. So we'll come onto the back again. Heels down, all the way down onto the floor, and draw that belly button in. So you'll feel those hips tilt as you draw that belly button in. Once you're engaged, press through the heels, lift up, big squeeze, strengthening all through that core, all through the posterior chain, and back down, vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way back down to the floor. Lift up again. And down. Slow and steady. Lifting up. And back down. Press through those heels. Everything's engaged. Belly button drawn to the spine. All the way back down. Inhaling up. Slowly lower back down. Make it a little bit harder. Take your hands off the floor. Let's go 2 more. All the way up. Big lift. Push through the hips. Spine comes back down. It's neutral on the floor. Belly button's engaged. Pelvis is tilted up. Once more, big lift. And all the way back down. Hands in behind the head. Here we go. Crunching up and down. Still ensuring that that belly button is drawn in the entire time. Lots of space between the chin and the chest. Avoiding any strain on the neck. Breathing out allows you to draw that belly button in even tighter. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. Rolling over onto the front, coming into our plank. So again, remember that belly button should be nice and tight. So what I'm gonna do is just be in the shorts and the sports bras showing you, because this shirt is dragging down a little bit. So we'll just hike it up a bit. So I want you to see that belly when we come into the plank. So nice flat back, but we're rounding up a little bit through the shoulders. Belly button is drawn in. If we don't draw that belly button in and we relax it, we get that sway through the low back, maybe lower down. We want to round up a little bit through the shoulders, draw the belly button in, and feel that difference. Here we go. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. Coming back down onto the back. Last time through for these glute bridges. Bending the knees, heels down. Notice that pelvis tilt. So if we don't engage through that core to begin with, we get that space in between the low back. And we want to draw the belly button in nice and tight. Spine is firm against the floor. Lifting up. Belly button's tight. Hips high. And back down. Flat back here. Lift up and down. Every vertebrae is on the floor as we come back down. Release all the way down. Really engage through the core by drawing that belly button tight into the spine. Lifting up high. Remember, when we talk about the core, we're not just talking about six-pack abs here. We're talking about that entire posterior chain through the front and the back. 3 more. Here we go. 3. 2. Last one. Perfect. All the way down. Relax the hips. Engage again through that belly button. Feel that difference as you pull in and create less space between the mat and the spine. You'll feel that belly button draw in and a nice flat back. Belly button is tight. Hands behind the head. Soft lift up and back down. 2, 3. Notice how I'm not even coming up very high. Back is flat on the mat the entire time. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. Coming around. So onto the hands and knees. Now you can come onto the toes or keep it onto the knees. Choice is yours for this plank. Think about rounding up through the shoulders. Draw that belly button in and lift here. So we round up through those shoulder blades, neutral spine. Don't let your head hang down. Rather keep the ears in line with the shoulders. Belly button nice and tight. Separation through the shoulder blades. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back onto the hands and knees. So nice, easy 3 sets of exercises to strengthen through the core. You're not sweating tons, you're not totally out of breath, but what you're doing is activating that core. So these exercises can be repeated daily. A few others to think about I'll add on here just to show you a couple other exercises to work with. Drawing that belly button in, tuck the toes under, and lift up off the knees. This quadruped hold. So simple. It's a lot harder than it looks. And back down. Now, we don't want to round up huge here. We want to make sure that that belly button's engaged, lifting up into that quadruped hold, and back down. Another way to tell if you've got nice, tight core, lean back, lift the legs up into the air, and really draw that belly button down. Now, if your core is weak, you're going to arch through your back here. So my suggestion would be to drop 1 foot down and really feel that belly button engage and the spine come firm down to the mat. From there, you can do a leg drop and up. If you need to keep your hands under your low back for those leg drops, then your core is not quite ready for this exercise. So that's a really good way to tell if we need to strengthen through that core. So take the hands away, maybe drop one leg down, foot onto the floor, engage, and then work those leg drops. Other side. Beautiful. Down. Let's come up to an easy seated position. This can be cross-legged or on the knees. And just take a few more minutes just to focus in on that belly button. So hand on the belly button, draw it in nice and tight. Ears, shoulders, hips. And then if you relax, you can feel that belly goes out. Doesn't look as great. We got that arch through the back. So nice and tight. We draw the belly button in. It's going to make us look slimmer too, which is great. So we draw it in. Notice how I just lose a couple inches off the belly there. Ears, shoulders, hips in line. And just practice that deep breathing. And this should be your stance all day. So whether we're seated, whether we're standing, this engagement here is going to help you build that strength through your core. Again, if we release it, you're going to know, you're going to feel like you've got a big belly, your back is loose. Sure, it's a little bit easier, it's more comfortable. Does not look as great. We draw it in. Notice that hip, how it moves. And spending your day here. So take those exercises, those first 3 exercises are the ones that I would recommend for daily use. So going through and focusing on those 3 exercises, plank would be the #1 exercise that I would give to any client. If they could only do one thing for the rest of forever, it would be the planks, but making sure that you're doing them properly. So that rounding up through the back, core is engaged. All right. Think about that as you sit throughout your day. Drop a comment. Let me know if you feel the difference. Any more tips, questions, concerns, please drop them here. Hopefully have a fabulous day and keep working on building that core. Thanks, guys.